Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and this is the first of many videos that we are going to have here on the channel today, talking about all of the roster moves that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are making. And I am not alone in these videos today. Joining me again from the Cannon Fire podcast, it is Evan. Evan, how you doing today, man?
Doing very well. Thank you for letting me on the video today. I appreciate it. And it's been a busy day, so excited to get down to it.
Absolutely. We have a lot to talk about. We are going to be splitting it up into multiple videos, like I said. But first, if you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos. And leave your thoughts about these roster moves down in the comments section down below. I will also have links to Evan's Twitter as well as the Cannon Fire podcast YouTube channel in the comments section as well. But Evan, let's go ahead and get started here talking about a couple of roster cuts that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made. The first one I want to mention here is Antonio Hamilton. What are your thoughts on this roster move? Why do you feel this happened and what it could mean for other guys that are battling for some of these roster spots here?
Well, I think Antonio Hamilton is going to be one of the bigger names that you see cut, just because, he has experience in the league. He was signed. It sounded like he was having a good camp. Played solid in the preseason games, even though his last game versus Houston wasn't great. I was surprised. I thought that he had the best camp out of the guys that were battling for that last corner spot, which was basically Antonio Hamilton, a little bit of Cameron Kinley, even though he got cut early on, and then D. Delaney and Herb Miller. Those were the main competitions there. And it doesn't really help Antonio Hamilton's case that when he has a bad night in Houston, D. Delaney and Herb Miller both come up with interceptions, D. Delaney coming up with two. The reason I think it happened is because Antonio Hamilton played mostly in the nickel, and Bruce Arians had said like he thinks that they have enough guys that can play inside, and I'm just assuming that they didn't think Antonio Hamilton was going to work on the outside, whereas a guy like D. Delaney or a Herb Miller could. So as far as their chances to make the team, it goes up, but certainly a little bit of a surprise, and we'll see if the Bucs try to keep him on the practice squad if they can.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there. This, to me, was pretty surprising. I thought that, of course, D. Delaney, Bruce Arians has shown a lot of love for him, but I thought that there was a legitimate possibility that they were just going to keep both Antonio Hamilton and D. Delaney. Heck, even during the preseason game versus the Texans on the local Channel 8 here, they had the Buccaneers cornerback room. Carlton Davis at the 1, Sean Murphy-Bunting at the 2, Jamel Dean at 3, and then they just already had Antonio Hamilton in there at the 4. They were assuming that Ross Cockrell was going to be playing safety for a little bit. So it's very interesting. I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. Like you said, he had a really good camp. I thought he was showing up. Bruce Arians had talked about how, hey, he's looking great in the nickel, but they're looking for guys who can also do stuff on the outside as well. If he doesn't get picked up by another team, which I feel like is probably a possibility here, like you said, I could 100% see him on the practice squad. I felt that he was doing some good work in special teams. I thought he looked, pretty good as a corner, all things considered, minus the little bit of a struggle versus the Texans in the preseason game. And yeah, like I said, this one was kind of surprising to me, especially so early on in the process. I think it was one of the first ones reported. So yeah, that one is definitely interesting. What do you think this means for guys like D. Delaney and, say, Herb Miller right now? Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and I am pleased to say that this video is sponsored by our friends over at Manscaped. That's right, we have actually got sponsors for this channel now, one of them being Manscaped. You guys, I'm sure, have all heard of Manscaped, right? They are one of the best, if not the best, men's grooming product companies in the entire world. They have loads of different types of men's grooming products on their website, including the Lawnmower 4.0. Definitely go check that out. And they've given me a very special offer to give to all of you guys. If you use the promo code MrBucsNation at manscaped.com, you will get 20% off on their website. That's right, 20% off on the website when you use the promo code MrBucsNation. So get on the website, use the promo code MrBucsNation, get your 20% off, and ensure that you are going to be using the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Well, as far as those two guys, I think it means one of them has definitely made the roster. I think that's for certain. One of them have definitely made it. As far as the other, do the Bucs keep both of them, and maybe they continue to list Ross Cockrell as a safety in order, to keep both those corners, so you have 5 corners technically anyway. I'm not really sure. If I had to guess, I would say one makes the 53-man roster and the other goes to the practice squad. If just a prediction, I would put my money on Delaney making the roster. It seems like you said earlier, Bruce Arians has really said a lot of positive things about Delaney in his press conferences over the past, not just recently. You're going back 2-3 weeks. He's been saying positive things, and obviously he came up with 2 interceptions in Houston. So I think Delaney is going to be that guy. Whereas Bruce Arians, when talking about Herb Miller, said that he wished he showed a little bit more progression, even though he had a nice night in Houston. That was before the Houston game that he made those comments, but I still think Delaney has the edge there for the 53-man job.
Yeah, at this rate, I would say, I would almost guarantee it, I think, that Delaney's made this roster, right? Based on Bruce Arians' comments, the good play in Houston, the fact that, Antonio Hamilton, who was his main competition, isn't here anymore. I would say that it's pretty much probably Delaney's job for that 5th cornerback spot. In the case of Herb Miller, it's a tough situation. I think if you get rid of a guy like Antonio Hamilton, you're probably going to end up getting rid of a guy like Herb Miller too. Just because I think in terms of special teams play and maybe having a little bit of extra added value, you might have Antonio Hamilton over Herb Miller in a role like that. So we will wait and see. Both those guys are still on the roster as of the recording of this video, so it will be an interesting thing to pay attention to. Also, real quick, Evan, before we go ahead and finish off this video, we do have a couple of more of these to make. Elijah Ponder and Jake Bezinger were also 2 guys who were part of these initial wave of cuts. Elijah Ponder, good developmental young pass rusher in my opinion. I thought he looked decent in the limited time that we saw him. Jake Bezinger, he was just in a tough situation. They had injuries to the offensive line. He was just brought in to basically be a body who can, block people. What are your thoughts on both these guys and what futures they may have here with the Buccaneers?
Yeah, as far as Bezinger goes, I don't really think he's gonna have much of a future with the team. I think he was kind of brought in because they had so many injuries along the offensive line this training camp, and you got to have bodies for these preseason games and even for the practices. So I think he was just one of those cases. As far as Elijah Ponder, I think he is, as long as he clears waivers, which he probably should. I think he is going to be back on the practice squad. I think the Bucs like him, and I think you could see him back next year in camp as they work to sort of develop him into that, the 4th string or 3rd string outside linebacker. He really put some good things on tape, and I think they really do like him. But do you like him enough to put him over some other guys right now? Probably not. So that's why I think they made this move right now. And I think they're pretty confident to get him back on the practice squad, or else I'm not sure if you do risk this move. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, in the case of Bezinger, like you said, it's getting an extra body in there, so I'm not going to knock him too much for that. Maybe he'll have some future somewhere down the line if they need some more offensive linemen. He could be a practice squad guy. Who knows? Maybe even a futures contract way down the line. But in the case of Elijah Ponder, like you said, I think he showed up in the run game. I think he showed up as a pass rusher a little bit. And I think that the coaching staff like what they saw from him. Again, I got to agree with you there. I think he will probably clear waivers, and I think he'll have a pretty nice spot on the practice squad as a young developmental edge rusher for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for this season. So all in all, some pretty interesting moves here. Hamilton, Ponder, Bezinger are kind of the first couple of guys that have been cut here. We have a couple of more videos that we're going to make here, but Evan, before we go ahead and head off on this quick one, do you have any final words?
Not really a ton. Just obviously they have to get down to 53-man roster. So there's going to be a lot more cuts, a lot more than even we're going to be talking about today. I believe the rosters have to be cut down by Tuesday, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. So that is when you are likely going to have your final 53, although it always is subject to change with the waiver wire stuff and everything. So no, not a whole lot. And let the busy time begin now.
Absolutely. And for Antonio Hamilton, Elijah Ponder, and Jake Bezinger, I wish those guys nothing but the best in their future endeavors. you know, it's always tough to see guys lose their opportunities, lose their jobs, and I wish them the best in all their endeavors, be it with football, out of football, whatever it may be. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. What do you think about these releases? Let us know down in the comments section down below. Were you surprised by the release of Antonio Hamilton, kind of like how we were? And what are your thoughts about Elijah Ponder and Jake Benzinger getting released as well? Give us your thoughts about that. Go subscribe to the Cannon Fire podcast. Go follow Evan on Twitter. I will have links to that down in the comments section down below as well. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Also, November 14th, there will be a Cannon Fire watch party. I will also have a link with more information about that in the comment section down below as well. But anyway, guys, enough of all of that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, guys, we will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.